Hollywood is in collapse. That's right, the studios that have controlled what you get to see in theaters quickly going away, and they're hitching their wagons as fast as they can to the new media, something we've been predicting but now has come true. YouTubers are taking over cinemas, and this is only going to grow and grow. Today we'll tell you why next year and the years to come begin the era of the YouTuber. What a great day. What a fantastic day. Thank you, folks, for coming our way to Somewhere Sunny USA. The studio is glistening because you're listening to what we have to say. As we dive in, smash that like button, drop a comment down below, and wouldn't you know it, we need you to join the conversation. Join a community dialogue. Drop a comment down below. Well, would you look at that? The trades are saying that which we said would come to pass. Well, it has. And what are we talking about? Folks, we're talking about YouTube taking over Hollywood. YouTubers, that is. You across the fruited plains. You with all of that talent that previously would have been blocked by the gatekeeping system. No more. No more. Variety, Marlo Stern says why YouTubers are turning Hollywood upside down. Oh, they don't like this, do they? No. Behind the studio gates, the freakout has begun. This past weekend marked a tectonic shift in Hollywood that sent shockwaves across the industry. As I read this, please remember that Variety is one of the trades. The trades are not normal publications. The trades have a job. The job is to tell everybody in Hollyweird what are the talking points, what is the orthodoxy, what can you say, what should you believe. When they say this from a trade, the message is clear. When you're around the water cooler, YouTube has taken over. Backrooms, a horror film brought out of a 4chan creepypasta and produced for about $10 million, opened to an extraordinary $81 million, smashing records for distributor A24. And Obsession, a horror film made on a budget of only $750,000, grossed $26.4 million in its third weekend of release, a 10% jump from the previous weekend, and crossed $100 million domestically, knocking Star Wars into third place in its second weekend and tumbled at 70%. Oh my! Things are changing. The Wrap is covering this as well because once the trades talk about it, everybody can talk about it. Is YouTube Hollywood's next pipeline? Insiders weigh in on whether the Backrooms and Obsession box office success portends a new film movement or something else entirely. Jeremy Fuster writing that one. The Guardian is in on it. The Guardian, because again, the trades said it's okay to say this now. The Guardian says, to YouTube and beyond, how online Gen Z directors stormed Hollywood. And can I tell you, one of the things they're going to try to say is it's only Gen Z because they don't want everybody getting their hands on this. But it's not true. Anybody can do it. So can you. The record-breaking box office for Backrooms and Obsession has opened the door for 20-something YouTube creators as the industry rethinks what audiences want. The industry isn't rethinking it. The industry is being forced into this. It's being dragged, kicking and screaming by the new media. The new media has conquered, Marv. The new media takeover is here. The market mutiny has tossed aside the gatekeeping studios, and suddenly YouTube's, well, it's winning. And Marv, the way I want to approach this, if you don't mind, is sure. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the idea that maybe by next year, theaters are going to be so desperate, so happy to receive with open arms YouTubers making movies. What do you think about this, Marv?
I think we've just seen the tip of the iceberg here. I think it's going to be easier now for bigger YouTubers to get investors in films. Yep. Having seen exactly just how, not just these two films, but I forget, what was the other one that came out?
Markiplier's film.
Markiplier's film, yeah, did exceptionally well also. So because these are people that are actual celebrities now. These are the ones that people actually go to. Robert Downey Jr. is not a movie star. Tony Stark is a movie star. Robert Downey Jr.'s career post-Avengers Endgame has not been great. People went to see Oppenheimer not because Robert Downey Jr. was in it, but because it was a Christopher Nolan movie. Other than that, he hasn't really done much of anything. Meanwhile, a YouTuber comes with a built-in system of advertising by being able to talk about it on their YouTube channel for free, and that's going to reach millions of people in a lot of these cases. This is a panic moment for Hollywood. That's why Robert Downey Jr. did that interview where he was talking about influencers being the new movie stars and guffawing about it. They don't want this. They are as scared of this as they are scared of AI.
Well, yeah, and AI should scare them too, because that's going to be one of the tools in the toolkit of YouTubers. So this right now it's horror, because horror is the cheapest genre to make.
Right.
But what is stopping for $750,000? There is nothing stopping a YouTuber from making a Pixar level film next year. There's nothing stopping this. And all you got to do is upgrade it to 4K from whatever you make it in originally, Marv, and suddenly everything is wide open again to anybody who wants to make entertainment.
Well, and you've also got places like you just showing Netflix. I think YouTubers are going to start landing Netflix deals now.
Yeah, why not? Why not? And we've already seen this happen, right? The total and complete industry capture of podcasting, of radio, has happened. Folks, look what we're doing right now, right? We're not owned by anybody. We're completely independent. Think about Critical Drinker. Think about Nerdrotic. Think about all of these places that have taken over the space. Joe Rogan, have taken it over. Last year we called this. We told you that the new era had begun after we found out the ratings last January. Okay, so go back a year and a half. When Joe Rogan's ratings came out, we found out that Joe Rogan had more viewership for him interviewing President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance than Disney had for the presidential debates. And we said the new media has begun, and this is accelerating. Carol, you actually are in another area where this is taking place, in the comic book and in the novel industry and writing. Carol, what are you seeing happen where the legacy media is being torn asunder?
It's been kind of interesting, because on the publishing side, once they kind of saw that some of the authors had a following, they tried to cash in on that, and they made a couple of questionable choices, but they were finding. So part of the background stuff that goes on is that publishing houses want authors to do more and more of the outbound marketing, right? Instead of them doing it. And a lot of authors, when they try to approach a publishing house, think that the publishing house will do a lot of the marketing. And it's getting to the point where it's like, if you're not showing up with guaranteed sales, if you're not showing how you're getting yourself into interviews and all that and everything else, then they don't want to talk to you, which is really detrimental to debut authors, because they don't have a sales history to report. So they don't want to work with new and rising talent unless it's somebody that knows a person, right? And YouTubers are at least able to say, like, look, I have numbers. And I have met some people on AuthorTube that get approached by publishing houses because they have, a very popular channel in author space. And what they do with that is what they do. In the movie side of things, I know a couple of channels like Epicverse. So Epic Mike, we all know Epic Mike.
Sure.
They do.
Great guy.
Yeah, they do their stuff like all the time, and they do it independent because at least then they get to make the content that they want. There's one group that I'm part of. They're called Rising Tide Media, and they make everything themselves. And they're telling stories that they want to tell, that they feel like from the heart that they want to share. But if you tried to put it in front of like somebody at a Hollywood executive, some guy would get changed into a girl. They'd have to put like, a person of color in there, like all this other stuff that they normally wouldn't have put in there. And I think what's really sad is the amount of YouTubers that are actually getting reached out to right now, because I don't want to dive into it, but like I've met some people who have been approached by certain forces in Hollywood, and what they're proposing right now is asking the YouTuber to do all the work, and then they can just attach their name to it, which I was like, that's very interesting. Like, and what exactly are you contributing to this project, right? But I don't get to be in those meetings, or I would ask those questions like, what are you doing for me, man? What are you doing for me?
Well, and I think now when you're going to get YouTuber produced content, you're going to get, like exactly what you said, they're not going to abide by those studio rules of like, well, what if we had a woman as the lead instead of a man? Like, no, they can actually go with their initial vision, and people will go with it because these are making money right now.
Jonas, let's talk about the economics of this, because it's so fascinating. Obsession is made for less than $1 million. Let's say it's going to make how much? 100, 200, what? It doesn't matter. Okay. Let's just, whatever it is, we're talking about 100x investment. Okay. Jonas, if we talk about, can a YouTuber make a Pixar film next year using AI and then upscale it to 8K or whatever? It seems like they probably can with the technology. You're talking about, they're going to do that for $1 million. And the traditional cost for these things is $100 to $200 million plus marketing. So it's untenable now. Like, it's not just that YouTube is going to compete. It's not just that YouTubers are going to compete. Independent media is going to compete. It's that it is so dramatically more efficient for YouTubers to get in this space than the studios, that they will eradicate the studios in 2 to 4 years. They will eradicate, completely transform the industry, Jonas.
So let's talk about what's gone on with the movies that have been surprise hits. You know, obviously I've been talking about Backrooms, generally not the kind of movie that I would go see in theaters, but I did get the chance to go see that. And there's a deep lore behind it, and that did well. I don't actually know anything about Obsession other than the fact that it is made by a person who comes from YouTube. Obviously, Iron Lung, Markiplier's Iron Lung, was punching way above its weight. I've also heard that the film itself, not necessarily of the highest quality, but also it's a passion project from someone that everyone is aware of. If you look at the Minecraft movie, you could very much say that that is a movie that is steeped in internet culture. That is a movie that heavily relies on memes. And
maybe, Jonas, that's just culture. Maybe we don't even put internet on it anymore. Maybe that's, you know, that Venn diagram is so, there's so much overlap now, culture versus internet culture. I can't tell the difference.
Right. Well, they don't talk about Minecraft on television is I suppose the way I would phrase that. And then, of course, you have Five Nights at Freddy's, which is not a YouTube thing, except that it is very much something that found its footing and its cultural relevance in theorizing on, game theory. I'll just give game theory the win on that one. So I know that movie, again, not necessarily a huge hit, but it's also something that punched above its weight there. So to me, I think this is, if they can get out of the horror genre here, that would be great, even though that is one where you can put a lot on screen for not a lot of money. I think Coco Melon is probably going to make its money back on the movie that they'll be making soon, except for the fact that it doesn't, the concepts that I've seen from that don't look like Coco Melon. I think this is, in some ways, it is like a life raft to a system that has been over reliant on intellectual property from the 80s. Like it's this cultural stagnation that they've been sitting in over and over and over again. Well, we got Alien, we got Predator, we got Alien versus Predator. Oh, well, we have Alien versus Predator 2. We have Star Wars, we have all the Marvel stuff folding in on its stuff. All of these things that came in from the 1960s, sure, it had a resurgence in the 90s, and there was a few stories after that, but it's all, even the Ultimate Universe at Marvel is retelling of the previous stories. So what does it look like that Disney is doing right now? They're going back to Darth Vader, who first appeared in cinema in 1977. So I look at this, and it's this great hope of new and original IP that can at least for now, it can be something for Hollywood to focus on, because they're very much wanting permission to hire YouTubers to do this. This is the thing that we learned when we talked to Paul Chatto and other executives. No one wants to be the risk taker in Hollywood. A24 has that option with the things that they're doing. Jason Blum has that option with the things that he's doing, because this is his name on the door. Bigger executives, if they say, oh, well, we hired the famous person from this to do the IP from that, no one's going to fire them for making what seems like copying a previous successful step. Now YouTubers, they have permission to use YouTubers after the success of Obsession and the success of Backrooms and whatever you want to call the success of Minecraft.
And Iron Lung.
They now have and Iron Lung. So I think the most disappointing thing for the studios is probably going to be that they didn't have more of a take from what Markiplier did there.
Well, here's the other thing too, Jonas. They don't have a choice, because right now they're distributors. How long until YouTubers would just bypass them completely anyway and say, I'm just going to theaters. I'm going to make a deal with AMC. You can distribute if you want to, but if you don't, I'm bypassing you. And so I don't think they had a choice. I think they had to do it when they did it. I think they had to pull the trigger now and be like, we love YouTubers. They're great.
It was very funny to see the studio line, or the distributor line on Markiplier's movie was Markiplier.
Right. So you better do it now, because it's about to be leapfrogged. All right, folks. YouTube is conquering new media, taking over legacy media on their back foot and falling fast. Star Wars, Marvel, He-Man, the rest, all saying, boy, we'd like to be the best, but we're not YouTubers. Pulling Hollyweird to the sensible center, the mainstream middle where money is made is not easy, but folks, you make it easy to make videos each and every day because sharing time with you is a great honor, and we never take it lightly. An attitude of gratitude every single time we have the chance to shine with you. Until the next time, we only ask that you click that like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And folks, don't worry about paying any kind of tuition for this free class and how entertainment works. You are on scholarship. Highest IQ on the internet, that's you for sure. Until the next time we have the opportunity to spend time together, folks, we just ask that you keep learning, keep growing, and as ever, keep having fun.